Well, hello and welcome to our latest CryptoAM catch-up over virtual coffee, where today we're going to be chatting about all things COVID-19, whether it's the data on deaths or infections, testing that's going on around the world, how different countries are achieving lockdown and isolating and distancing, what impact that's having on business, economy, and on people. So let's see who's going to join us today. Hey, Fernando, good afternoon.
Hey, how are you?
Hey, good. It's another quiet day.
You're
So,
all alone all this time. Oh my God.
yeah, well, I'm logged in anyway, so it makes no difference to me. I'll just leave the channel open and
hmm
see who pops along.
It's better day today than yesterday. So
Yeah,
that's why.
yeah, that's true. Well, I guess maybe everyone is getting ready for the bank holiday in the UK. It's unusually a
I,
bank holiday
I'm,
on
I'm,
Friday.
I'm I'm confused. I thought all bank holidays are on Mondays.
They are usually, yes, but this year they've changed the early bank holiday Monday to be this Friday to allow them to celebrate 75 years of anniversary of VE Day.
All right. Uh,
So,
so weird.
so you're right. Normally bank holidays are Mondays, so this is going to catch quite a few people out.
Yeah. Well, it doesn't matter. Most people are. It's bank holiday every day.
Yeah, that's right. It's one of those things trying to work out, well, what will be different on a bank holiday than a normal day? Well, let's see. Shops will be shut. Well, shops are normally shut. Everyone won't be going out. So, as you say, it's no different from normal. So,
Yeah, indeed. I
yeah,
think it's the same thing. So people don't care.
yeah, exactly. Yeah. So, any new news?
No, really. It's just usual stuff. I'm just concerned that Boris is under pressure from some people in the cabinet to open the economy, And to be truly honest, the more I think about what I'm reading and seeing, and all of those versions of the virus, and you just posted one that's like, oh my God, this is the most prevalent at the moment, the most aggressive, and I think in less than 2 months we're back in,
Yeah,
because the NHS will be flooded and absolutely hammered. And the reason is because UK is one of the very, very few countries where there is no border control at all. You just go in. That's it.
yeah. But I do think that the government is actually planning ahead for a second wave. And I get the impression that's actually the real reason for the Nightingale hospitals that they created. So the Excel Centre, Birmingham, and wherever the others are, I get the impression that they've been created with the expectation that they'll be needed in the future, not for the current round. So I think you're right. I think there will be a second wave, but I think they're actually prepared for it in some way. Whether
Yeah.
they're prepared enough is going to be interesting, because the thing that troubles me, and this is why I keep asking the question about infection and reinfection and immunity, is that if you get a second wave, then you're going to get a whole new bunch of new people being infected and becoming very sick. But is there the possibility that those who've previously been infected could become reinfected, and because they're not going to be quite operating at 100% from the previous attack, is it going to make them more susceptible the second time around? Just quite.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a, and I think people are living in dreamland. I really think so. And the government really knows what they have in their hands. I just think they are power grabbing, and I mean, this thing with the app is just an excuse for me. I really believe in that, because if they do what I think uh, is the right approach, in my opinion, if you have proper control in the airports, all this effort we are doing now, it's a huge effort for the country, and it's curbing down slowly. We should stay like this and go to the point where you say, hey, the R is probably one or less, yeah, but let's close the airports. You know, they have to close the airports. It's as
Yep.
simple as that. Well, I mean, you don't need to be a genius to understand, or a virologist. Just know if you let everyone from the world continue to come through our airports, of course it's going to interact with all the other variants of the virus that are around the world, you know?
Yep.
I mean,
Yep.
and then what? It costs more to the economy. You are right. It's all about the balance, you know, economy and so on. But it will cost more to the economy if every 2 months we have to be locked down.
Yep.
Yeah? Instead of actually, let's spend a lot of money like we are doing now, but let's put controls at the borders, yeah? And get only people that we are like 95% sure that they are okay, you know? That's going to be, or more, because you make people that travel to pay for their tests. It's
Mm.
as simple as that, you know? I
Well,
mean, they,
I think maybe that's it. We need to introduce some mitigation measures to accept that there is going to be a high rate of infection, but what can we do to control it? And you're right that one of the things you always want to do. It's a bit like the old joke of what is it about if you're a farmer and your cattle are escaping out of the gates from the field, what's the first thing you do? And people start saying, "Oh, you go and chase after the cattle, or whatever." No. The first thing you do is you close the gates and you stop any more going wrong. Then you start getting
of
your
course,
cattle back in. And it's the same with this, that there's no point having tracing and testing and tracking if you're allowing free movements into the country. So you need some sort of control and monitoring there to begin with. Yeah.
yeah. And listen, if they do that at airports, and you make sure that, like they did in Portugal, you cannot go out without a mask, you'll get a fine. It's as simple as that. And people can report other people, and they will, you know,
Yep.
because, and they should. So if they implement that policy, everyone wears a mask when you go out, yeah, control at the airports, we will keep the rate of infection low, and the economy will function properly.
Yep.
Everybody can go to work with a mask. You can even, you know, decide to by names of people or by organizations, whatever, you know, to who travels in the tube between 7 and 8, between 8 and 9, between 9 and 10, so you never get the tube full, you know. So staggered approach to let people travel, and then they go back home between 4 and 7. What's the problem?
But
People adapt, you know.
this is the thing again about masks, that they keep saying they're being in the UK. They keep using the phrase being led by the science, but I'm not sure which science they're being led by. Because if the primary means of transmission of the virus and so infection are through touch, well, you can sort that out by wearing gloves, or by vapor or particles, then masks are going to massively reduce that. So why not just have masks and gloves and allow everyone to travel around still? To me, that would reduce the the infection rate significantly. I mean, you wouldn't need lockdowns then. And that's what they've done in Hong Kong. And it
Yeah,
seems to be
and
working there
Korea,
already. Yeah.
South Korea works really well, you know. I spoke with someone from South Korea yesterday. No, yesterday, and he basically said, you know, we have under control here, you know. But you know, I don't know. I wonder if there is a massive cult strategy here of the old folk. Just I do not get, if we are all locked down, yeah. Why are, I mean, it has passed weeks and weeks, yeah. Why are people now in new care homes being infected? It
Yep.
doesn't make sense whatsoever.
But what's going to be interesting?
You understand what I mean? I'm
Yeah.
not trying to
Oh, yeah.
start here a conspiracy theory, but
Yeah.
if it has passed weeks from the top, and infections are going down, why are people now still in new care homes getting infected and dying? I don't get it. I really
Well,
don't.
I think it's because the care homes just aren't equipped to operate in a surgically sterile environment, and so that they're not trained in things like infection control and medical cleanliness. So they're good at being clean and tidy in there, but not to the degree that this kind of thing needs. The thing I'm curious about now, you're seeing for the last probably 3 weeks now, there's been an excess of deaths of around about 10,000 a week, more than you would expect. So that's double our normal death rate. You know, at what point does that start dropping simply because there aren't any ill people left? No, because at the moment, you're right, it seems to be having a cull, and it seems to be culling off the elderly, the ill, the vulnerable, the high risk ones who.
Well, there is, and
Yeah,
I can give you the answer.
Well, go on.
The answer it's very simple. When you were sick before, yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah, yeah.
So when you were sick before, you used to go to the hospital and they spot something and they might give you a medicine or they'll start a treatment or you stay there. None of the people are taken to hospital. You know, throughout the crisis was only people that had very, very serious complications, you know. So you're not admitted to the hospital. You call the 111, yeah, stay home. People with cancer, there's no cancer treatments, yeah. All of that is, and of course people are gonna die, you know,
Yeah.
and massively death. So I'm not surprised by that, you know. They're probably not dying from COVID, a lot of them, but they are dying from things that they are not being treated in the
Yeah,
hospital. You know?
but the impression I get is that at the moment, the majority of the deaths are of people who were probably going to die in the fairly near future anyway. This has just accelerated it. So there's going to be a point at which there aren't enough people who are about to die anyway, who are going to die, to keep the rates up as high as they are. So I just wonder, are we going to see the death rate drop, which is kind of what you'd expect? Or are we going to start seeing it being that it's not just elderly, ill people who are dying, but it'll be more and more younger people and more not previously ill people in some ways, or people who just, you know, they suffer from obesity, but it's not medical obesity type, or a medical problem or something.
I think I think you're right. It will should be going down, but I think the COVID deaths will go up because they're going to open the economy. You
Yeah,
know, so I think potentially you will see more COVID deaths and more of those deaths, like you said. You know, different type of death.
yeah,
But I I have a very very bad feeling about this, Gary.
mm,
Really bad feeling about it. There is something that is not adding up. You know, when things add up, you can actually see. You know.
yeah,
And when they have this, I mean, those things that were highlighted today, that any doctor can sign the death certificate, you know, without even knowing who the guy was or talk. I mean, it's just insane,
yeah.
insane. You know, Harold,
It's
when we
one of
got
those
that
things,
to
but
Harold Shipman, you know, the result of that was that they introduced that there needs to be one more person to check, yeah, and then if someone who knew the victim, well, the person death, to actually be okay, that was done properly, and only then it could go the coroner to actually even give his own opinion after, you know.
mm. Well, I think this might
I'm
be an
shocked.
example. This might be an example of what sometimes happens when authorities kind of try to be proactively reacting on some stuff, and they don't fully comprehend or compensate for that. It then leads to these other, like, it's law of unintended consequences. So you probably will see an increase in people using this to their advantage in some way, which is fine as long as it's not at a state level. That would be truly scary if it's
Eliminate
on a
eliminate whoever you want. Yeah, it's as simple as that because they can simply just say, "Yeah, we don't want this, and it." By the way, it looks like it doesn't even need to be a doctor anymore to sign it, you know?
yeah,
So,
yeah,
which is
absolutely.
scary, absolutely scary, you know?
Anyway,
Um, yeah.
I was
I don't
going to
know,
say,
man.
uh,
Maybe
uh,
I'm getting, maybe I'm reading too much into it, you know? I don't know, but it's just what it looks like.
look, if it's not just being bad advised, and I think I think it is that, to be truly honest, then there's something very weird going on. It's one or
Well,
the other.
as I always say to people, whenever the choice is between a conspiracy or a cock-up, 99.9% of the time, it's a cock-up. Conspiracies are actually very, very rare in reality type thing. So
Yeah, I agree.
Anyway, it's now nearly the weekend. So
Yeah,
time as always to say goodbye and have a good weekend. I
too.
won't run one of these tomorrow because it's bank holiday. So Fernando, thanks for joining me, and go and wash your hands.
Yeah, indeed, always.
Bye now.
Have a good weekend. Bye.